business venture when you were 12?
When I was 12, actually what I did was, because we didn't have the range of television and things like that, I needed something else to occupy my time and found a little clipping in a newspaper and sent it away. It was through a group called Regal, and what came back was a box of Christmas cards and ornaments and wrapping paper and things of that nature. And then I went out through my neighborhood, which again back then was not a big issue to go from street to street unaccompanied, and met with all the neighbors and took their orders, showed them the product that I had, and shipped all of that away. All the material came in at the appropriate time, went and saw everybody, collected the money, and in the end, of course, I had, you know, a reasonable income flow happening. Regal came out with a spring venue and Easter and that kind of thing, so it just sort of went on, and really it was the first business venture that I ever undertook.
We have a question.
Any specific figures in my life, right, that inspired me? Definitely my father, you know, I mean, he was just there and always supportive, very stable, and he was somebody who sort of maybe pay attention to things because he was a police officer, so it was hard to get away with very much. I was always detected no matter what I did, but at the same time, you know, it showed me what I should be looking for as well, and made me more aware of people and different things that were going on. So it was helpful that way. Yeah.
What is your idea of a successful life?
My idea of a successful life is actually probably doing what each of us individually want to do. So for me now, you know, I mean, I've had a family and I've done that kind of thing and have fabulous children, and now for me it is to be out in the world and traveling and successfusly being able to take my business with me. So I'm not tied down anymore, which is a great feature that all of you have available to you easily. Yeah. Yes?
When it says working in a man's world, what is really considered a man's world?
You know, I thought about that a little bit, and 30 years ago when I started business, really it was a man's world, especially in the construction industry, which is my area. And then I thought that a man's world, and this may be wrong, but was because of my presence, it didn't allow them to be who they were. You know, that they were sort of trying to get away from the household or the family or the women or whatever it was. And there was their little enclave of men. And then, of course, somebody like me appears and continues to appear and continues to appear. And I think at first that, you know, it interfered with what their concept was. And now I think that's changed completely. There is no more man's world in that kind of sense. I mean, look at this room. I think we're dominated by women here, you know, and I think that's a positive thing. It doesn't matter what the industry is anymore. You know, now construction, you see all kinds of women who are present. So.
You said that you made a couple mistakes and you learned from those mistakes. I just wanted to know, what was one of the things you learned from your experiences?
Not to go into business with family. I think that's one of the first things that they teach you in business school. But nonetheless, I think a lot of us do that regardless because we think we can do it, right? You know, and you feel that you've got a solid family and you've got the grounding and that ability. And really, in the end, that was probably one of the biggest disappointments for me. And it's still even something that's underway in my life. And I still think that, you know, I should be able to come out the other side and make that successful. But as time moves forward, I'm not so sure that that's the case.
When did you work with your family, and what did you do?
Well, I think that, you know, going further into business, being in business quite a long time, you try different avenues. And it was definitely outside of my comfort level. So it was a family member that came to me for a business opportunity. So we examined all of that, set it up, did, all the business plans and went through everything that should have been in place, did our due diligence. And in the end, we still failed to achieve, I guess, maybe what I think should have been achieved. Maybe on her terms, she's got it, but that's not being related to me, so I see it as a failure. But what I was going to say too was that as you get older in business, you take bigger risks. And I think that's important. There were lots of little mistakes earlier on in business, but they were things that I could handle easily. It wasn't an issue. Give me a week and, we've got that under the table and are ready to go. And then when, as I say, when you take the bigger risk, then it's a little bit harder to just move on.
What strategy to try again or keep moving forward?
When you fail, what drives you to try again? I think the failure, really, is just to understand and see what you can learn from it. And really, I don't think of it as a failure. If you've gotten something back from it, if you can put something down or you can open another notebook and go, okay, we did this. It's, the old adage of, just the idea that if you don't try again, right? You've got to keep going. So presumably get something from it and get to move forward.
It's a key step to a successful life.
Key step to a successful life? Well, that's very personal, isn't it? Well, for me, it's actually travel. I like to get out there and visit other cultures and see what other people are doing. I spend a lot of time in Southeast Asia and Europe, and get to go and be with those people. And of course, it's so different from the Western community, and just understanding them, what their values are, and have some appreciation of that. And I think probably bring a little bit back of it back home, to try and help people here to see that maybe we don't have the right answers to everything. Yes?
When you were younger, I was just wondering what inspired you to be in control and to run a company?
Well, it's like Lisa being the Gemini. I'm the Leo. So, just determination, inspiration. Really, that's sort of interesting because probably it was through the process of elimination rather than education for me. I didn't have much secondary schooling. I went and I worked with different employers, eliminated them. Usually after I found a year was about enough time to understand what was going on, and would move around to a number of different areas, all which in the end related to publishing and related to my business. But basically that, yeah. Yes?
It says that you like to travel on your own. Why is that?
Well, I've learned how to carry my own luggage, so I don't need help with that anymore. Just to be able to do it the way that I want to, and it also opens up a lot of different things when you're not in tandem, when you don't have a partner. I get to meet a lot more people. I engage more quickly with people, and I guess just learn about what they're about as opposed to always being attached.
Some of the biggest failures you've made that have gotten you where you are now?
What are the biggest values that?
Like, what are some of your failures that have gotten you where you are now?
Wow, biggest failures that I've made. Let's see. Well, I don't know, biggest failures. Actually would be sort of more like the correct decisions, that have gotten me to where I am. By paying attention to my competition closely, and staying in touch with the people that I do business with, making sure that we're satisfying their needs. Yeah. Yes?
Do you find it tricky sometimes knowing what the competition is going to do or finding out information about them?
Yes, definitely. Watching what the competition is doing is very important. You want to keep them close to you, right? You want to have friends in all of those areas and just be paying attention. and hopefully being able to move a step ahead from what's going on. And that can be hard to do because, of course, we're in an electronic world. So lots of times there are platforms that are being built out there, you know, that take a long time to produce. And then, of course, they hit the marketplace. And, you know, I mean, it's all done, right? So, yeah, you need to be inside that, if you can.
If you had one piece of advice, if you look back and thought, because you've seen this broader world, international world, what is one thing that you might suggest to people who are beginning? Like this.
Beginning, I think to get out in the world. I think Victoria's a fabulous place to be, but you've got to go and have a look at what else is out there. And I know education is paramount, but you're gaining that too when you're out there and traveling. And I think it leads us to different things that might even have more importance in the end.
Ooh, thank you.